Welcome to Central Johannesburg TVET College, Smit Street Campus, Strategic Plan for 2025 until 30. So the vision that you see in front of you is that of Central Johannesburg TVET College, even though we are focusing on the Smit Street Campus. According to our college as Central Johannesburg College, we are saying we are a digitally empowered TVET institution that leads innovation and produces future-ready graduates with smart skills for the fourth industrial revolution. As part of our mission as a TVET college, we are saying we'll provide inclusive, technology-driven vocational education and will empower our students with digital and entrepreneurial competences. We'll collaborate with industry to produce a skilled workforce for smart economy. In as far as South African TVET landscape is concerned, TVET colleges are critical to reducing unemployment and equipping youth with employable skills. It is important that we integrate smart technologies which will be aligned with South Africa's National Development Plan, and that will be your NDP 2030 and Fourth Industrial Blueprint. Our current challenges as a TVET sector will be our resource constraints, limited digital infrastructure, skills mismatch between graduates and industry demands. Now, when we look at global trends in TVET digital transformation, key international developments, one can look at Malaysia and China as a benchmark, where we are saying successful rollout of smart classrooms with AI-based learning is key. We look at Europe, in Europe, industry integrated digital platforms improving employability is also very important. Under global shift, we are looking at remote learning, where we look at AR, VR simulations, as well as smart labs. Now, the implications of TVET College, when you look at TVET digital transformation, this will be where we want to adopt smart technologies so that we remain globally competitive. Challenges and opportunities that we face as a college and the TVET sector will be limited ICT resources, low digital literacy that we'll find amongst our lecturers, budgetary constraints, and opportunities will be that government digital infrastructure is very important, private partnerships and SETA support can play a very crucial role in growing as an ICT and smart campuses. Increased student engagement and performance is very important. Now, when we look at smart classes, what do we mean by smart classes? Smart classes incorporate smart boards, they incorporate tablets, laptops for our students and lecturers, they incorporate digital assessments and online platforms, as well as AI-based learning systems. And then it also incorporates visual simulations. And what will be the purpose? The purpose will be to create interactive student-centered learning environments and also to prepare students for jobs in a digital economy. Now let's look at rationale. The rationale behind smart classes will be that we want to improve student outcomes, higher engagement and retention is important, and we also want to enhance employability. Students do learn industry-relevant technologies if they are offered smart classes. Align with Industry 4.0, meaning we need to prepare our students for AI, prepare students for robotics, as well as digital jobs. Supports inclusive learning. Smart classes will make students be able to access to recorded level as online resources. Now we need to look at SMART goals. SMART goal 1, and now we're focusing on the infrastructure. S in SMART is implementing 20 fully functional smart classrooms. M means we are purchasing and installing smart boards in high-speed internet as well as digital tools. A means we are collaborating with ICT service providers. R means we are addressing digital transformation priorities. T will mean the end of 2026. We want to see this being achieved. Now when you go to SMART Goal 2, and now this one focuses on our lecturer training. S will mean that we want to train all our lecturers in digital teaching methods. 100% staff certification in e-learning pedagogy. A will mean that we want to conduct workshops as well as online modules. R will ensure sustainability of smart education. And T will mean that December 2027, this has to be completed. Now when we go to SMART Goals 3 and 4, SMART Goal 3 will only focus on digital curriculum. S will mean that we want to digitize 80% of course content. M will mean that we want to upload content to a centralized learning management systems, which is. A will mean that academic board of the college and IT department will show it. R means that we will support blended learning. And T means that we want to achieve by 2028. Now let's go to SMART Goal number 4, and this focuses on student success. S will mean that we want to increase the pass rate 5% to 80% and only using Smit analytics. M will mean that monitoring tools that we'll be using so that we can be able to identify our struggling students on time. A will mean that we want to use digital learning interventions. Now let's look at action plan for implementation. Action item, we are saying it's going to be infrastructure procurement and responsible department. This will be the ICT department as well as finance department. And our timelines will be looking at between 2025 until 2026. And then when we look at staff digital training, we are saying our HR department as well as academic affairs should be responsible for staff digital training. And our target times or periods will be 2025 until 2027. Now, when we look at curriculum digitization, we are saying the college academic board should be the one responsible in making sure that our curriculum becomes digitalized. And this needs to happen between 2026 as well as 2028. And finally, when we look at monitoring and evaluation, quality assurance unit must make sure that from A to Z, all these action items are taken care of, and responsible departments become responsible for the action taken as well as meeting the deadlines as planned. Now, when we look at the risk analysis and operational indicators, and migration and mitigation. Risk 1 is budget and shortfalls, and the possible impact will be the project delays. Mitigation factor will be public-private partnerships. And then the second risk will be resistance to change. And the possible impact will be slow adoption. And how do we mitigate? It will be through training and change management. And the third risk is going to be cyber security threats, and the possible impact will be the data loss, mitigation, ICT security protocols. And then the last risk will be connectivity issues, and the possible impact will be learning disruptions. How do we mitigate? It's through network infrastructure upgrades. As we conclude, we are saying this strategic plan is designed to position our college, Central Johannesburg TVET College, as a digital leader in vocational training. The introduction of smart classes will not only modernize the education delivery, but also to empower our students and to participate meaningfully in a global digital economy. And I thank you, colleagues. questions and comments or inputs?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I mean the 2027 goal of digitalization you were talking about. I think the other day, it was not Monday, the cameraman there is Freedom. He was talking to me about it, and he was watching some of your colleagues, and he was already saying that he was watching them online, and he was saying this should be done digitally. Why are you doing this for each student? He was saying that it's very easy to do, and he said he was going to help us to work on it. So that digitization, I think we can even bring it forward a little bit.
Because 2027 will be too far.
Yeah, Freedom was actually saying that we can do it very quickly.
Okay. So we're in agreement that we are not going to wait for December 2027 as our timeline. The sooner the better.
Yeah, because he was saying that we can do all of it. We can put it on too, and we have these e-files. Even for students, we have these e-files. So you don't have to have these folks. The students don't have to print out. And I think you also commented on that. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, and you said that you remember the conversation there. You said the money we save of paper, you can use to channels to buy devices for
digital.
For educators. So if you look at the budget and how much you said we must do a cost analysis to see how much we spend on paper, and we spend a lot on paper as our college. And if I'm sure we can phase the computers for a number of years.
That is true.
Saving.
And also buy laptops instead of buying boxes of paper. Any other comment? Mr. Ngilima?
In the art department, for mass media, yes, we've started the process. So we need to implement it to other parts like design division. So, yeah, the students receive their briefs for the classroom, and they also submit
Through Google Classroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Any other comment?
I think also Freedom is already doing that with the students. All the assignments are done through Google Classrooms. And even we're doing it through Teams now, because each of our students, we're already in this process where each of our students, as they register, they get a college email address with their student number at MyCJC. But it falls away after 3 days. Maybe what we must look at is making sure that it's active for a longer period where we don't have to reactivate it. So as soon as a student registers, then that must remain active, and we must give them their password as soon as possible so they can start to use it.
And what's the plan? When should it be implemented?
I think in our next registration,
2026.
2026, we must speak to TVET and find out how we can ensure that the student number remains active and doesn't fall away after those 3 days.
Any other comments? Oh, you wanted to say something?
It's a question. If the department is instead of relying on Google Classroom, are they prepared to develop systems that we can use, like owned by the department or the college? So,
I think so.
Because there are so many
elements.
LMS.
So standardized one.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. But, so that's why, in as much as it's a presentation for other purposes, but when we engage college practically, so we are eager to implement all of this. So what I wanted to say is that, yeah, in the absence of LMS, in other words, we must be very much innovative to try other things, because it goes down to the point of budget constraints. But what I like with the presentation of smart classes, it means if we can collaborate a little bit more as campuses of CJC, we can do. Because for an example, in another campus in our Google Classrooms, we can do it, but we're not doing it. That's a potential skill. So if Smit Street is doing it, if we collaborate, what we call private campus can be of assistance then from in-house to a little baby step to get to a certain level. Because now if we keep saying we don't have an LMS, we can't do this and that, we know for a fact it's gonna take, for time. But now coming back to the presentation, my comment, it was just a few questions per se. Please make sure that you reference your work. That's very important. Plagiarism. Because I've seen the Malaysian, obviously your research, the literature review, Malaysian, China, all of that. Make sure you reference it. And then the last slide, you need to have references that you used. Very important. And then I forgot my actual question. What was it? It's something that I think on they call it the business Canva model. I didn't see that here. Which obviously you have covered it, but in that fashion where it's resources, finance, teaching and learning, the other stuff, and all of that, so that you can have a dashboard view. How do you implement or roll out this whole thing? Yeah, those are the key that I wanted to highlight. References for everywhere where it's not your own bits. Then the last page is a must. You must have references. After conclusion, it's references, the sources that you have used, so that you're not accused plagiarism. You took
Thank you so much.
And I also got a couple of the feeding of your response about a couple of things. I think we should have, as a college, I know this is for your campus, but as a college, we should have a standardized approach where maybe the slides look a certain way so they all look professional, and then we should have a naming convention. So if all the slides, maybe it should have subject first, then it should have year, then it should have class, or all our files across when we eventually do our LMS, they look the same. So students are familiar when they want to activate or look for a certain assignment. So if we all name our stuff exactly the same, that will help our students quite a lot. And then one other comment is on the AI. You mentioned AI there. And I've noticed now, it's at my daughter's school, they sent us an email saying that they will have not for your finals, but for your formative assessments, they will have AI agents that will be marking your students to help them. And what they're going to do is the AI, they send it to an AI agent, the AI looks at it and marks it within 2 or 3 minutes and says, this is the area that you need to improve on before you give your final assignment in. And so it tells them these are I don't know how they build these agents. We're sort looking at how to build these AI bots that they're building.
It's a lot of researching.
I just want to also emphasize the issue of standardization of, I would say, presentations, also, let's say, the documentation from the invites, the minutes, how to draft the minutes. We do have such templates, but I think it's us also to take the initiative to implement them. Because it was one of the examples to say, if you look at the document of TVET, when they can come from different departments, but it seems as if they are written by one person. If you look at the circulars, just the introduction part of it, the font size, all those things, consider it done in one office, but standardized. So that's why I think we have to migrate it to people who are looking behind based on that.
That's what I was talking about. I was interested in Lucas's comments before we started, because he knows how to, and you mentioned when you paint the form, when you take the format and you paint from one document to another, and Lucas is an expert there, he can show us how to.
There's one workshop that I attended, they say officially so we have to use the area and the font size must be about
12, at least 11.
But we don't attend to that part. Looking like the other thing that I observed that they also told the colleagues at the campus, There were times that we attended one of the workshops, I'm not sure if you can remember, during Horowitz time, about the logos, to say the department logo, the document was on the left, our college logo. Doesn't matter if it the top or bottom, to anything that comes from the college. But find that at some point, it's only college logo that is there. The head logos on there. So those are the things that I think, as much we've been made aware, we are not able to follow up people.
I think it depends on each campus as to how we enforce that to happen, because according to it should be a standard procedure that we make sure that we don't send out where we're not using the correct logos. So if it means our TVET logo should be on the left and CJC logo should be on the, then it's a standard practice. Because when you go to other institutions, that's the same practice they are using. You find the head logo and then the name of or the logo of that particular college. So it is a standard practice, but I think it now depends on us as campuses in making sure that we enforce that practice. Because it means it's not a legal document or a correct document if it has incorrect logo. It doesn't reflect. Yeah, it doesn't reflect the
great
college.
example of this brand. Let's say Nike and Adidas. The tick is on a certain position.
Exactly.
So the direction is the other way around, is not the line. That's why they can tell you that this is a fake. So because it's the signature of that particular brand. So as myself also have the very same signature to say this document was not designed as for
Yeah, that is exactly. It's a department because those rules are set in the identity corporate number. When they design the law, they give us a set of rules on how to use the logo. So I think the marketing is to do a roadshow where they introduce all these rules to different campuses.
Marketing, they've done it. I think it's as much all of us as campus managers do have the templates. That's the thing that after Smit, when we have to send the letter. Do have those campus those templates. Us just sending template to the colleagues and maybe give the colleagues just a short briefing to say from now onward that's how we work this thing. What template of the ordinary letter, template of the invite, of the meeting, of the minutes, all those templates are there. It's us.
Not enforcing.
Yeah, because that's why I want to let people and what is it?
So the marketing department
is what they've done that part. As I said, that those are the ones that they told us to do that. And it's us, I think, as Mary said, that we don't enforce it. So, I think, like as I gave the colleagues, I told them what was happening. And I see how things are done.
But I can say, as long as when you approve anything that has a wrong logo, it means you are approving them to use wrong logos. As long as you put your signature to say you are approving, it means you are allowing it to happen. Because it starts from your assessments, like little things like your question papers. If you receive a question paper without a logo, a CJC logo, or even a TVET logo, it means it's not legit.
Yes, but maybe in terms of digitization, can we have a template that's digitally available that's like formatting? That formatting we cannot change.
Yeah, let me come in then. I'll come with an angle of it. You're a scholar, so you need to do things systematically. There's no way to use about it. I don't want to see the thunder, but I need to give it in the sense that I'll start from the bottom. When Mr. Maduleka was talking about referencing, you can't reference unless if you put it down somewhere in how you structure it. Firstly, one, you need to have, when it's a presentation, you need to say cost line presentation, online, whatever it is. You say, these are the things that I'm going to talk about. Remember, you are projecting a message to different type of the student. Student, you just want to know exactly what is it that's all about. Already flows one. Excuse me. Yeah. introduction, you need to set the tone and say, this is how things should be done. Now, because we're talking in terms of, as a scholar, you need to say the abstract. That's important. You need to talk about the introduction. You need to talk about the executive summary. You need to talk about, I was talking about also the glossary. You need to talk about the abbreviations. There's some of the terms that you're going to come across. You need to explain to the people in advance and say, these are some of the terms. And when you're talking about the citation, it's also academically, it's in terms of you are comparing. You're saying, in China they are doing this, in there they are doing this. What is it that you are adopting? Are we fusing in so that we customize it according to how we're going to make sure? It's a strategic point of view. Remember, this is going to take 5 years. So you need to go more into detail. And in that regard, then obviously, I'm not sure how long is the slide, the time of it, but at least I gave you some of those things. And one way or the other in terms of presentation, sometimes just a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yeah.
You can just put one picture and 2 words. Out of it, you can spend those about 2 to 3 to 4, 5 minutes with 2 words with one picture. And remember, we're reading the picture differently. Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, colleagues, I think we've exceeded the time of the presentation. This is like now almost an hour. It is supposed to be 30 minutes.
You can switch off, but we enjoy it.